Hey everyone, today, I will be going through the infantry heroes. Which skills you should take in what order and what should be its talent build and what would be my rating for each infantry hero. So the first hero that I'm going to cover is Raigoro. He's a really strong hero for the early game. And later on, he falls off a bit because you start getting other stronger infantry heroes. Its first skill gives you a shield, and it also helps you to recover rage. The second one, it increases your counter damage, and it also reduces the damage taken by your squads once you have awakened it. It also helps reduce travel speed, so when you are chasing some hero, like for example, usually, riders are running away fast, so you can slow them down for a while. Its third skill that is very important increases the infantry attack and defense by 15%. Your last skill, it increases your damage when you have a shield, and it also increases your infantry health points. So basically, your fourth skill is linked with your first skill, and lastly, once you get it awakened, then it reduces the damage and increases counter damage. That we have, which we have already discussed. As for its talent tree, my right side defense, I have completely maxed it out, and I want additional rage from the last talent. I need additional rage even when I'm in garrison or I'm fighting in the field. Similarly, this talent is very important because it will help you reduce any damage that you are taking from the basic attacks. As for its infantry side, I have taken damage reduction by 20% for 2 seconds when attacked. This one is also good, but you can go for the other side as well, and when your squad size is less than 50%. But I prefer the left one because I want to reduce damage with infantry guard. And combine it with damage control, so I will be reducing the damage by quite a lot. So that is it for Raigoro. As for Raigoro, L will give it B. My second hero that I'm going to cover is Tom. He is very good at the start for garrison and fighting. Later on, he becomes a great support secondary hero with Adut, Thunder Peterson and Freddy. Early game you can pair him with Raigoro leading. The same combination can be used for garrisoning. You can also have Tom leading with Lewis as secondary in garrison. Its first skill, it helps you not only heal but it also deals damage. And at the same time it also reduces the damage taken by your squads by 15% for 3 seconds. Its second skill, it gives a chance to counter attack and damage. It gives you 10% chance but it can only be triggered once in 3 seconds. Its third skill, it is very good because it increases your defense and health by 15% each. So if you are combining it with any other hero, it is almost like you have a free equipment. Like your backpack, your knife, something like that. So 15% each is quite strong, and the last one is when garrisoning your infantry squad. Defense is increased by 18%, and it also increases your healing effect by 30%, so you can combine it with any other healing hero such as Martin, which increases the healing effect. So my skill build that I went for was first, third, second, and then last one, it was fourth. As for its talent, again, I have maximized its right side, and I want to reduce the damage that I take as well as additional rage when my squad size has fallen below 30%. If you do not want to go for this one, you can take this one in its place, both of these are equally good. It is quite similar to my Raigoro talent build. Tom is an A-tier hero. The third infantry hero I am going to cover, and one of my most favorite heroes, it is Adut. As you can see, 12,000 damage. I think she has the most infantry damage after Freddy. And Freddy has the maximum skill damage, and then you have Adut. Also, it increases your squad's defense by 30% for 3 seconds once it gets triggered in. Then its second skill and its fourth skill, they are really, really strong. If you are in battle for 20 seconds, then your attack is increased up to 44%. So 11% after 5 seconds, 22% after 10 seconds, 33% after 15, and 44% after 20 seconds. In prolonged battles, she will be having massive additional damage. My skill build is like 1, 4, 2 and then 3. For its fourth skill, your infantry squad attack is increased by 40% immediately, as soon as you enter battle. If you are having 50% of your squad alive, and if it falls below 50%, then your defense is increased by 40%. As for Adult third skill, it increases the travel speed by 30%, which is very good for an infantry hero. And at the same time, if you get a debuff such as slower damage decrease or attack decrease, defense decrease, HP decrease, you have a 50% chance to nullify that debuff and also heal your squad at the same time. So this is a very strong skill, and if it is at level 1, even then, you are having a 50% chance to get rid of it, so this is a very strong skill. It is a very strong buff for your heroine. Additionally, once you have awakened your heroine whenever it receives skill damage, it also reduces your own squad and your nearby squad skill damage received by 20% for 2 seconds. So, there is no chance here, you can see. There is no percentage for it to be activated. It will activate 100% when skill damage is received. Soon as you receive a skill damage, this awakened power, it will be used and it will help not only you in your field battles, but it will also help your squads that are fighting alongside you. Now, as for a talent build, I have gone for the complete right side. People may differ from me because I have taken double-edged sword talent, which increases skill damage, but usually I am pairing with Tom or Thunder, so I'm okay with taking extra skill damage because if I'm taking additional skill damage, at the same time, my own damage is being increased, so 6% at 12,000 is quite high, actually, around 6 into 120, so that is about 720. I think so. As for her infantry side, I have taken reduced damage, 20% for 2 seconds, and the remaining talents are pretty standard as well. Next, infantry hero, I have Robert Ease. Currently locked for me as I've moved my servers, but I really like this hero as well. Its first skill is the highest damage dealing infantry hero skill, that is 12,500. And one of the most important thing here we can see is that it also reduces the target's HP by 25% for 2 seconds. With second skill, it increases attack by 20% just like Adut. As soon as you enter battle, your infantry squad's attack is increased by 20% immediately. And any damage that is dealt to your shield will be absorbed and dealt to the enemy instead. I haven't tried it, but Raigoro first skill also gives a shield, which should be working here as well, but I'm not sure. Similarly, the shield he gets due to its third skill that works here. 20% shield chance with 2,400 damage absorption. Eddie also triggers shield by his first skill and grants a shield for 2 seconds with 2,400 damage absorption for 2 seconds. The trigger rate is also high at 20%. For Freddy's fourth skill, it is linked for fighting in the field or even rally lead. It is a passive skills triggered when you counter-attack with a 20% chance. This skill deals additional 1200 damage for 3 seconds. So the total damage over 3 seconds would be 3600. It has a cooldown of 6 seconds only. So most likely you will be triggering the shield and burn effect constantly in a fight, dishing out absurd amount of damage while hitting the enemy or even when getting hit. As for its awakened skill, you deal extra 50% damage to enemies which have been affected by HP reduction. So, whenever your first skill has hit enemy squads, you will be doing 1800 damage per second for a whooping 5400 damage over 3 seconds. So this hero, it is all about damage, in my opinion. As for talents, right side is completely filled. Double-edged sword, I've taken again because I'm okay with taking extra skill damage as my hero can deal extra damage as well. As for infantry again, the standard skill build for him. I think for Freddy, the basic attack damage increase that should also work very well. But I didn't play much with this hero, so I cannot be sure of it here, and maybe an updated guide later on him might worm. Even for Eddie, it would be really good because both are dealing absurd amount of damage due to their respective skills. Hero lacks any healing like typical infantry hero or damage reduction. The next infantry hero is Thunder Peterson. He is the most OP infantry hero. And I would say he is the strongest infantry hero for me. He has an insane garrison and brilliant field battles, too. Its first skill not only does it heal you but it reduces enemy attack of a total of 3 squads in a fan-shaped area by 30% for 2 seconds. And if you are being hit by Rider's squad, it further reduces the damage by 15%, so if you are being attacked by a Rider squad, its total damage reduction is going to be 45%, which is a huge reduction in damage. Its second skill increases infantry squad health by 30% and squad defense by 10%. The third skill reduces squad basic attack damage by 30%, and if you are garrisoning, it increases counter damage by 22%. For the skill, all damage taken while in garrison is reduced by 12% and further heals you as well for 2,200 points after 6 seconds for a 10% trigger rate. For talent build, I've gone right side. Complete. And this one is very important, damage control, because 10% chance to reduce all damage by 15% is amazing for him. And then when I level it up to 60, I will take Infantry Guard. Because it is reducing damage taken, which is again additive to its overall damage reduction skills, and it makes him super powerful. To rate the hero, he is an S-tier hero. Get him at all costs and level him up as well. If you're infantry main, you should never miss Thunder. Infantry hero for me is Eddie, and he's a really strong infantry hero. His first skill deals 11,300 damage and also grants you a shield of 2,500 shield absorption. It works well with Robert's second and third skill. But since both heroes are released together, Eddie is a much better option to upgrade and spend your legendary shards on. The second skill increases infantry defense by 30%. And, if squad size falls below 30%, increases counter damage by 15%, so it can work well with both Robert but also with its own counter damage based third skill. The third skill is the most important one. This is the most important one that I was going to level up next and max out before I moved my server, so it increases your counter damage by up to 44% at level 5. The last skill, this is for sieges when you're launching infantry based hero rallies. It increases infantry squad health by 30%. While launching rallies, leader can be Robert or Adut paired with Eddie. With Robert's first skill reducing health and Eddie's fourth skill, it also reduces health by 25% every 6 seconds with 20% chance rate. However, it is the awakened skill that is pretty great. Whenever its shield is broken or disappears, it reduces the health of 3 squads nearby by 20% for 2 seconds. So, good luck to anyone who tries swarming this guy. He is great as rally lead and for field battles. As for talent tree, fill up the right side. Get 5 levels in damage control for all DMG taken reduction. And as for infantry skill tree, get infantry guard to further reduce damage taken. As for tier list, he is an amazing hero and can be paired to great effect with all other infantry heroes. As for skill build, you can go 1, 3, 2, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. As for the tier list, Eddie is an A+ or S tier.
Il ne me reste plus rien.